Hi there, Donna and Michael. I'm broadcasting by video from our house here in Glendale, Arizona, just a few yards west of the western border of Phoenix. I want to thank you for all those things that you've sent me, but especially for that great opportunity a few years ago to meet you, Donna, and Wendy at that restaurant. You were so kind. We had such a great time, and I could certainly see, what a beautiful family you have, and a few things I may have missed out on. Until I was 9, I wasn't very far from you. I grew up in Altadena before around 1954. The folks moved up to the Antelope Valley, and the rest of my parents' lives were right there in Lancaster, California. If you ever get a chance to listen to podcasts or read the literature about people who have been adopted, I cannot tell you how cherished it is when we get to meet our biological people. Did you know that often the first biological people we meet are our own children? And then it becomes even, more imperative to see where we all came from, because we have these personalities that sometimes match not so well with the people who adopted us, and we kind of wonder who we are and why we are the way we are. Your niece, Diane, has given me plenty of insight. So it's from the Griffiths, where I find I'm probably too full of myself. Do you relate to that? And speaking of DNA, I am pretty sure that I did not get a lot of my birth father George's traits. I mean, he was extremely athletic, he was entrepreneurial, business oriented, and so forth. I probably got people skills in my DNA, but I think most of who I am came from Uncle Paul, who was a writer. He was really loved music, and he had a real powerful attraction to religion, and that is, three things that were very much part of all of my life, whether I was an agnostic or a very strong religious person, depending on the time of life. I'm going to put this video up on YouTube so it's easy for you to access, and I'm also going to have an attachment of this little article I wrote about the time of my birth, which will have involved, of course, the birth mother and George, the birth father, and some notes about the family in general. I hope you find it interesting, and I hope nobody's offended by it. It's just, how life and my thoughts have developed. But you got to know I am most grateful for not only the things you have said, but now that the door is open that we can communicate, it means the world to me. So thank you very much for that, both of you, Donna and Mike. I thought you'd like to see this picture. This is a studio shot that Diane and I took. I guess it was about 15 years ago when we first got together in the Philadelphia area. She gave me a complete tour of the Griffith house where the boys grew up, and it matched very much what Paul described in his novel, My Stillness. Now what you see in this black and white photo is kind of a Rosetta Stone key to the Griffith family. There was a big anniversary for George's grandmother, Maggie, who was seated in the middle. So you've got 4 generations of people there that combine both of the Griffiths and the McQuains. The dishes that you see in the forefront, Diane sent to me that Stella had kept on shelves in that house near Philadelphia that had probably been given to your dad, Mike, by clients who couldn't, afford to pay the full bill. A funny thing happened is one of these dishes broke just as soon as I opened the box. And strangely enough, I was able to find the factory in Germany that made it, and I found people who actually stored replacement dishes by the code numbers that were on the bottom. It was one of my nieces that pointed out this kind of availability. Really surprised. Oh, and here is a shot of my birth mother, Irene Silla. That picture was taken about the time right after I was born. And there we are together on a beach in Mexico. These are, with Irene, these are two of my children and my granddaughter. Granddaughter Desiree is on Irene's right, and to her left is my son Jason and daughter Catherine. Jason is about 52 now, Catherine's 43, and Desiree I think is around 32. We met one year in Prescott, Arizona. And in this picture over here, Irene had 5 more boys. So they were quite surprised that they had an older brother when I showed up in about 1995. And then down here, here's a picture of all 3 of my children, Catherine, Jason, and then John was the middle child, and he's about 51 right now. My first wife was Indonesian, which gives them that international glow. This is today's wife, Rose. This was our prom picture in high school. It took place in 1962, and it took quite a few years to lure her back into my life. And we got married in the year 2000. She had 3 kids, and so did I. And here's our current family's own Rosetta Stone of a picture. In the first row is my ex's daughter, Courtney, my mother, who passed away in 2005, and my granddaughter, Desiree, at that time. In the second row, my first wife, Noor, my sister, Mary Kay, who passed away in 2004, my beautiful wife, Rose, and Catherine next to her. And then in the back, all 3 of my children, John, Jason, and moi. Well, I said 3, didn't I? Well, there were 2 boys, and then Catherine, of course, was at the end of the middle row. And of course, to prove I am a California boy, Rose and I are still big Dodger fans.